Hello, children. Welcome to Diksha online program. Today, we are going to continue the chemistry, the lecture 2 of chemistry of organic compounds. Let us recap what we have done in yesterday's class. In lecture 1, we have discussed about the introduction of organic compounds, why carbon can form a large number of carbon compounds because of its four basic properties. One is due to tetravalency, isomerism, catenation ability, and multiple bond formation ability. We have also classified the compounds into four categories: aliphatic hydrocarbons, aromatic hydrocarbons, alicyclic hydrocarbons, and heterocyclic compounds. And we have seen the importance or the nature of different functional groups, starting from alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids, ethers, amines, etc. Today we are going to continue the lecture, taking forward the nomenclature, particularly the IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds, comparing with common names and what should be the IUPAC name. So now, nomenclature of carbon compounds, the history of nomenclature, common or trivial naming. In early stages of development of chemistry, the organic compounds were named based on the sources from which they were obtained. People were not aware what is the structure of the compound, how many carbons were there, what is the overall molecular moiety present over the structure. They only know the differences between an organic compound to another organic compound by its properties, by its source of existence, by the properties, by the functioning of the compound. They were able to identify a compound from another compound. During that time, they have named the compounds mostly based on the sources from which they were obtained. Examples, we'll see some of the examples. The word formic acid, the formula of this particular one will be HCOOH, formic acid originally. This was taken from the Latin word formicus. Formicus is the chemical that will be present in the red ants, the chemical which is extracted from red ants. So formicus means red ants. So this is given the name for formic acid. In taking the source of the formic acid is red ants, the Latin word formicus. Same way, acetic acid. What is the formula? For your understanding only, the formula CH3COOH, which was obtained from the Latin word acetum. Acetum means vinegar. Vinegar is the source. Originally in the vinegar, 10% acetic acid will be present, and that acetic acid is taken from the acetum. The Latin word for vinegar is acetum, so the name is given as acetic acid. Same way, names of the organic compounds were not in any way related to their structure. So no one have given these names because of the structure. They have given only with reference to the source, but not with reference to the structures. The names were given based on the interest of the scientist who discovered them. Some cases, what happens, even it may happen like this. Sometimes the same compound discovered in two different parts of the world, two different parts, two different scientists have identified the same compound, have given two different names. Now, when it comes to the next stage, what should be the name of the compound? It becomes a complicated way to name the compound because everyone gives their own names. There will be no common connectivity between one scientist to another scientist and one chemist to another chemist. So there it started to give the point of one common point has to be there to name the compounds, and that has been done by framing an IUPAC. What is IUPAC? International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. IUPAC means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Now IUPAC has been framed and taken forward they have come to one conclusion: all the organic compounds should be given a one single name which has to be followed by everyone with certain rules, and body line is framed, rules are framed. According to the rules, the names has to be given to the compound. And what are those rules IUPAC have given? The rules to name the carbon compounds is, it is to maintain the uniformity throughout the world. Everyone, you may be belonging to any country, you come to me and you will give the name of the compound what I know. That's it. Because we all follow one rule. Now, names which are given on the basis are popularly known as IUPAC name. Trivial name or common name have no correlation with IUPAC because they have been given simply with its property or with its source of existence, or in favor of what scientists wanted. They have given the names, but there is no relation to its structure. Related to the structure, the name which is given is by IUPAC. IUPAC rules will be followed to give the name following the structure. So those names are called IUPAC names. So now we are talking about a nomenclature which is IUPAC nomenclature. What is the important point in IUPAC nomenclature before we go further? Today we are going to talk about IUPAC nomenclature. The IUPAC nomenclature can be explained in short for you in this slide. In very fastly, I'll be explaining you with the 5 parts of naming the compound. Very interesting. 5 parts we have to take care. What are those 5 parts? I have given the names as secondary prefix, primary prefix, root word, primary suffix, secondary suffix. So each have its role. See, the role will be like every person has some job to do. When everyone's job is being coordinated, finally the work is being completed. So this is how it is going to be. Secondary prefix, it will take care of the substituents. Is there any substituent attached to the parent chain? Then how many are attached, where they are attached, the position is given, and also the number of substituents attached will also be given corresponding to the parent chain. Now what will be the parent chain? Root word will be the deciding parent chain. Whatever the carbon which is given numbering, the numbered carbon is considered as parent chain. When you number the carbon, 4 carbons are there, 5 carbons, we have given numbering to the carbon chain. The numbered carbon is taken as parent chain, and anything which is not a part of that numbered carbon chain, they become substituents. So how many such type of substituents are there will be explained by secondary prefix. Now what is the job of primary prefix? If you say, primary prefix is applicable only if you have a compounds like cyclic compounds like this. If you have a cyclic compounds, if they are the parent chain, then we use the word cyclo before the root word. The name of the root word, we use the word cyclo, and so this is fixed, the word is fixed, and when we use this, it is only when it is a cyclic chain. If the carbon chain is open chain, if I write something like this, a carbon chain, in this case primary prefix is not used. In the open chain, primary prefix is not used. Only in the cyclic chain we use the word cyclo. For open chain, the primary prefix has no importance. Coming to primary suffix, after this I'll come to primary suffix. What is the use of this? You have a carbon chain. Is the carbon chain having only one type of bond, single bonds? Is there anywhere a double bond, or is there anywhere a triple bond? This can be identified by the name, the 3-letter word or 2-letter words. These words will give me that information. ANE, ENE, YNE. If your total carbon chain starting from first carbon to the last carbon, if you see all carbons are connected with single bonds, I'm not talking about any heteroatom connectivity, only carbon-carbon connectivity. If carbon-carbon bonds are connected with single bonds, then it is ane. Carbon-carbon bonds are connected with double bonds, it is ene. Carbon-carbon triple bonds are connected with triple bonds, then it is ine. So we use corresponding this. Therefore, alkane, alkene, alkyne. So when you are using the word alkane, ane indicates the total carbon chain is single bonded. Alkene, there is somewhere a double bond in the carbon chain. Alkyne, there is somewhere a triple bond. Doesn't mean that every carbon should have triple bond, double bond. At least in one of the place of the carbon chain, there is a presence of double bond or triple bond is indicated with the word ENE, YNE. Now, if you have a functional group, like last class we have seen carboxylic acids, alcohols, esters, ethers, amines, such functional groups are present. How do we identify if they are present or not? Secondary suffix will give you that information. The presence of functional group and what is the special name given for them. The functional group is also been explained by secondary suffix. But remember, all these four parts have no independent existence until a parent chain is fixed. This is something like, you see, you have no existence until a parent exists. Your parent will give you the address. Your parent is your address. Biological address is your parent. Your name is given by him. You are address. Your complete everything of you will be your parent. From the parent, you will get your identity. The same way, the identity of you will be from the parent. The same way, the four parts of your IUPAC name will be only existing if a root word is properly selected. So the root word is the careful point which has to be taken care. What is the root word? It is indicating the number of carbons present in the parent chain. So selection of carbon chain is your root word. Let us come to this, how to select the parent chain. Selection of parent chain follows a simple methodology. Start numbering the carbon from the direction which gives least position to these in the order. If you have a functional group, your functional group should be in the least position. So from which side, if you give numbering, you see the functional group coming less positioned carbon, then that is your direction. If you see functional group is not there, then who has to be taken into consideration? Multiple bonds, double bonds or triple bonds. If functional group is not there, multiple bonds should be given priority. If multiple bonds are not there, substituent should be given priority. Remember, your first priority should be given to whom? Functional group. Second priority should be given to whom? Multiple bond. Third priority should be given to whom? Substituent. Now, example I am taking here, you have a carbon chain where carbon chain is attached to some functional group. Now you have two types of numbering that are possible. I can start numbering from left to right or right to left. This is one numbering, this is one number. But if I start from left to right, the functional group will be attached to fourth carbon. If I start from right to left, the functional group will be attached to first carbon. Where my functional group is at least position, numbering from right to left. So right to left is the correct way of numbering. Same way, if I have a double bond in the carbon chain, I can number from left to right or right to left. If I am numbering from left to right, double bond comes at second position. If I number the same carbon chain from right to left, double bond will appear at third position. Now between 2 and 3, which is small? 2. So my numbering is correct from left to right. I hope it is clear. If carboxylic acid COH group or CHO group, nitrile CN group, like carbon containing functional group CHO, COOH, CN, if these functional groups are present, they are termed as terminal functional groups. For all these terminal functional groups, numbering should start from the carbon of functional group only. This carbon should be given numbering 1. This carbon should be given numbering 1, like that. Example you have seen here, left to right if I give numbering, this carbon gets 4. Right to left if you give 1, which is correct one? Right to left. So this is taken. Left to right, in this particular case the numbering is given 1, so my point doesn't vary. But one point you have to see, always select the longest carbon chain connecting to the point 1. Select the longest carbon chain taking care of point 1. So if you take the numbering 1, you have one way, moving in this direction. In this direction if I am moving, I am getting how many carbons? 3 carbons. In this direction if I move, I am getting 4 carbons. Where I am getting the long chain? In this case I am getting the long chain. This is small chain. So which should be selected? Numbering is correct, chain is long, so this should be selected. So that is the important point you have to take care. So the longest chain is selected in that way. Then naming the parent chain, you have seen alkane, alkene, alkyne. You always have a word alk. What is this alk starts for? This is indicating the root word. What is the name of the parent chain? So how do you get this 3-letter word? From the number of carbons which are given the numbering like this. So if you have numbering given only 1 carbon is there, then the alk becomes meth. 2 carbons are there, eth. 3 carbons are there, prop. 4 is there, but. pent, hex, hept, oct. So this is how, if you see CH4, only one carbon, methane, two carbons, ethane, three carbons, propane, four carbons, butane, five carbons, pentane. This is how the numbering can be done, and this is the naming of the carbon. But the most important point, if the carbon chain is not given numbering, this is very important. If carbon chain is not given numbering, you have a carbon chain, but in that carbon chain one carbon is not given numbering, and that carbon has one hydrogen less than this expected formula over here, whatever formulas I have given. With respect to this formula, if you have one hydrogen less, then such type of alkane is given a name as alkyl. Name ANE, remove the word ANE and replace it with YL. So originally if you have CH4, methane, but if it is one hydrogen less, CH3, methyl. C2H6, ethane, C2H5, ethyl, C3H8, propane, C3H7, propyl, like that. Example is also provided. If you have this carbon chain, is there any functional group in this particular one? Check it out. No. Is there any multiple bond in this? No. So now you cannot go with functional group, cannot go with multiple bond. Let us come to the point number one. If functional group doesn't work, multiple bond doesn't work, what should be taken care? Substituents. So what is that I wanted? Now substituents. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, the four numbers are given. These carbons are numbered, but is this carbon numbered? No, it is not given any numbering. So now this becomes your substituent. And CH3, what is the name we give for CH3? Methyl. At what position methyl is present? Second position. Remember, a number and a word should be separated by a hyphen. Now that is important. So the IUPAC name is 2-methyl because the first suffix will be given in the suffix should be mentioned in the first case. So I am coming to this particular slide. So 2-methyl. Now four carbons are there. So butane. This is how the numbering. I hope everyone is clear with this. I'm coming back to this slide. So remember, this is very important. Coming back to this, the saturated hydrocarbon having one carbon is named as methane, two carbons are named as ethane, and unsaturated hydrocarbon with triple bond or double bonds are there, then ine comes for triple bond, ene comes for double bonds, etc. Structure has branched chain. Identify the longest chain, identify the number of carbon atoms. In the examples, let us only see the example, forget about what is given. You have in this example, you can see moving in this direction, I'll get 8 carbons. Moving in this direction, I'll get 7 carbons. Now tell me which is the longest chain. This is the longest chain. This is not the longest chain. So this should be taken as root word. Moving in this particular direction, we have 9 carbons. Moving in this direction, we have 8 carbons. So now which is the longest chain? This is the longest chain, which should be taken as root word. Non. Non. All are single bonds. So ane, non-ane, IUPAC name becomes non is the root word plus ane. Non-ane will be the name. And here if it is 8 carbons is oct. All are single bonds. Oct is the root word. But the substituents, now if you take this carbon chain, this becomes your substituent. So ethyl will be there at 5th position. At 5th position you have ethyl and octane will be there. 5 ethyl octane. 5 ethyl octane. This is ethyl octane. But remember, is it the correct name? No. Why? Because if I number from this side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but if I number from this side 1, 2, 3, 4, now which is the correct numbering? This direction is correct numbering. So what should be done? Correct this as 4 ethyl octane. I hope it is clear. With help of the table what I have explained, you will be understanding this. Now can you name this compound? Everyone just check it out. You have the carbon chains in this particular one. You have let us go in this direction. You have 8 carbons. In this direction also 8. In this direction also 8. Okay, so the longest chain is 8. It is fixed. But let us see in this particular one, while counting from left to right, your position of substituent is 5. While counting from right to left, your position of substituent is 4. Now you have 5, from this side. You have 4 from this side. So which is correct? 4 is correct. So that means it is 4. And what is the substituent? That will be, this will be your substituent. 2 carbons is eth. And if it is substituent becomes ethyl. 4 ethyl. Total 8 carbons, so oct. Octane. 4 ethyl octane, the name of the compound. So while counting from right to left, the branched chain which is taken when there is no functional group, no substituent, we consider it as the priority with respect to. So like a functional group, it is a prior group. So priority is considered comparing it like a functional group. You have to give the least position to that particular one. So the least position is 4th position. So that should be granted and the name of the compound becomes 4-ethyl octane. I hope it is clear. Now, again, if I explain the same slide, if I am explaining it for you, moving from left to right and moving from right to left, you have the same numbering. Longest chain is 8, 7 should not be considered. So this numbering is cancelled, this numbering is cancelled. Now you have these two are unnumbered carbons. When 2 carbons are unnumbered, they are taken as ethyl. And now we have to fix whether ethyl is at 4th position or 5th position is correct. Among 4 and 5, which is the correct least numbering is 4, so 5 should not be considered. So ethyl should be at what position? 4. So 4 ethyl. Now we have total 8 carbons, naming is oct. Do we have anywhere double bonds? No, all are single bonds, so ane. So the name of the compound becomes 4 ethyl octane. Now it is clear? Okay, let us go to the next one. In case of functional group present, write the prefix or suffix of the functional group according to the table given. Now, whenever you have an alkyl groups, never they act as a substituents, so only alkyl. Whenever you have a halogen, there is no functional group name given to it. It is only prefix. It should be written as prefix. Cl is written as chloro. If Cl is there, written as chloro. Br is there, written as bromo. And iodine is there, it is written as iodo. So this is the naming which is given for that particular one. Iodo, bromo, chloro. If you have 2 chlorines, dichloro, trichloro, tetrachloro, like that. Okay. If you have alcohol group, then OH group, you have to write the suffix will be written as OL. Suffix is OL. If you have aldehyde group, for aldehyde group, suffix is small a l, not capital A, small a al, al. And remember, if you have ketone, group, then ONE. If you have carboxylic acid, then oic acid. Okay. The very important point over here is before the suffix, we will be writing the primary suffix ane, ene, or yne. After this, we will add this. Remember, if you get a vowel letters like, if you have vowel letters like A, E, I, O, U, and added to this Y, extra is Y. If you get any one of these, if you get any one of those A, E, I, O, U, these particular terms correspondingly, if you are having any one of these vowel letters, then remove the letter E from the previous suffix in, ein. So that means if you have alcohol, then you will be having anol. It becomes like an, E will be cancelled, ol, anol. E will not be there. Aldehyde is there, an, al, al. If it is ketone is there, an, on. But E will not be written in that particular one. So keep this point into minds and then we can work out. Clear? So correspondingly double bond in, triple bond ein. Now if I am taking, so we have seen the functional groups, everyone is clear. Moving to the next slide. Nomenclature of alkanes, and very important point over here, alkanes. Let us learn about one special substituent group, which is isopropyl group. We have seen an alkyl group, now we are going to see an isopropyl group. The word itself has the number of carbons inside it, isopropyl. Propyl means how many? 3. But here the most important is iso. Iso is the word which I am more concentrating. Whenever we use the word iso, that should have minimum of 3 carbons in a Y shape of arrangement. Let us see the Y shape of arrangement. If I turn this particular slide, you can see this will be in this way. The carbon here, carbon here, carbon here, it will be in the Y shape. Or you can also write this as in the CH3. It should be CH3. You cannot change it. It should be CH3. You cannot change it. Two CH3 groups attached to one carbon. This is isocarbon. If two CH3 groups are attached to one carbon, that carbon is isocarbon. But remember, it should not be a numbered carbon, then only it is iso. If it is a numbered carbon, it is no more an iso. This carbon should be unnumbered. It should not be numbered. Unnumbered carbon. So remember that particular word. Either it's sometimes they represent in this way. This is the one way. This is one way. All three are same. But for our convenience, three different ways we are seeing an isopropyl group attached. Let us understand this in this way. But remember what is important, as a terminal group if it is attached. So you have a carbon chain, okay? In this carbon chain, let us take, this is the longest carbon chain. I have taken a carbon in this one. CH3, CH3, CH3. If I am taking this particular carbon chain in this way, now this particular group is called as isopropyl group. Isopropyl group. Okay, and this is used in IUPAC. When, if you are using in IUPAC, this should be an unnumbered carbon. But common names, if you want to use, there will be a carbon chain CH3, CH3. You have CH3 if they have given you this way. Now there is two types of naming for this particular carbon chain. Let us understand two names. One is common name, the other one is IUPAC name. In a common name, you will have this type of carbon chain. This is taken as iso, and the total number of carbons are 4 carbons overall covered in this particular one, so it is butane, isobutane. But in the IUPAC name, you will not see this. You will take in this way. If I am taking a carbon in this, let us go with this carbon chain. Numbering can be given like this: 1, this is 2, this is 3. So at second position, 1 carbon is there, so it is methyl. 3 carbons are named, so it is propane. So remember, when I'm using the word iso, when I'm using the word this, here there is no iso in IUPAC. In IUPAC, iso will come when it is not a part of carbon chain. If it is not a part of parent chain, if it is not a part of parent chain, then iso can be used. But in common name, iso is used if it is considering the total number of carbons. Iso is used and given the name. That should be the condition. The apart from bicarbon chain, the remaining carbon chain should be a straight chain. Remember, this is very important. The remaining carbon chain should be a straight chain. Then it is iso. If 5 carbons, isopentane. 6 carbons, isohexane. Like that it goes. But IUPAC and common name differs in this perspective. Coming back to the slide, here we have an isobutane given common name, but they are asking you a IUPAC name. So the IUPAC name will be 1, 2, 3. So 3 carbons with a methyl group present in the second position. So what will be the names? 2 methyl, 3 carbons are there, so propane. Correct? Another structure is given. Pentane is given. This is pentane. In this particular one, isopentane they have given. Isopentane. Where is iso group? You check it out. Do we have an isopentane group? Where is an isopentane? Let us write. So C, C, It's an isoalkane. Remember, whenever someone gives you a question like isoalkane, that means it is always a common name. Isoalkane is always a common name. Remember this point. Never forget this particular one. Isoalkane is always a common name. Again, I'm writing here. It is clear. So we're writing here. Iso is a word for alkane if they are giving common name. So iso we have written first. Okay, iso group is done. 3 carbons covered. So for pentane, 2 more carbons should be written. Write in the straight chain. That's it. Now the IUPAC name to write this particular one. Don't more. Numbering should be given to the longest chain. And while giving the numbering, one point you remember, keep a pen on that carbon. And without lifting the pen to where you can move, that is your longest carbon chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But while moving here, I cannot move here. Correct or not? While moving in this direction, I cannot go in this direction again. So that means this carbon will not be covered while I am moving in this. So that means this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So at what position it is methyl? 2-methyl butane. So the word of this name of that particular compound becomes, so here they have not given, right? Yeah, they have given here 2-methyl butane. Correct? Coming to the next slide. The common name of the compound, neopentane. What is neo? If a carbon is attached, of 4 valencies of carbon are filled with methyl groups, methyl, methyl and CH2. This total chain is called as, this is called neo chain. So having 5 carbons fixed like this, anywhere if you find 5 carbons in this way, that is neo. Followed by, if any carbon is added, then it is neoalkane. If only hydrogen is present, then it is neopentane. If any one more carbon comes over here, hexane, heptane, octane. Now here neopentane, that means it should be hydrogen. If you are taking hydrogen, now either I can move from here, 1, 2, 3, like this, like this, like this I go. This is one way. 3 carbons I can cover. I can cover 3 carbons in this direction. So if 3 carbons are covered, this remains as unnumbered carbon, this remains as unnumbered carbon. So this methyl is unnumbered, this methyl is unnumbered. So this is a methyl, this is also a methyl. So how many methyls are there? 2. When repetition of group comes, how much is the repetition? That is the numerical prefix di, 2 times the name of the word methyl, dimethyl. At what positions it is? At second position and second position. So 2 methyls are at 2 comma 2 positions. Repeated, give the positions, how many carbons, that many times, no problem. Now the root word is, numbered carbon is 3 carbon, so the root word becomes propane. So the name dimethyl propane. Any doubts in this? Clear? Again I am saying neo chain is the cross chain, CCCCH2. Here one say will be there. So this is your neo chain. So cross mark, try to remember the cross mark. Plus is your symbol for neo. So you will understand this. You can answer any question. Remember, from here, if you should have a carbon chain, it should be a straight chain carbon, never any branches in between. Moving, homologous series. Homologous series is a series of structurally related compounds differing by CH2 group. Two consecutive members of the homologous series differ in their formula with CH2 group. General formula, all the members of series can be represented by general formula. They can be prepared by similar methods. They have similar properties, no change. The only difference is it is the next higher member. That means he is the brother of the previous one. One carbon more. One carbon more. Just add one carbon. One CH2 group you add to that. Then it becomes a homologous series to it. So that means you are giving a elder brother to the previous alkane. That's it. That's the point. So if I say methane, homologous is ethane. Ethane homologous is propane. Propane homologous is butane. So next increase the carbon chain. That's it. So coming to example, if you have a methane, what is homologous? Ethane. Homologous propane. If you have methyl alcohol, CH3OH, this is common name. This is common name. Then what is IUPAC name? IUPAC name will be meth, one carbon is there, then all single bonds, ane. Since OH is OL, vowel letter is there, E will be cancelled from ANE, E will be cancelled, so ANOL, methanol, IUPAC name. Similarly, see eth, eth is two carbons, ethyl alcohol, common name, but if you write IUPAC name, what will be the name? Eth, I am getting an answer, ane, and writing ol. Do you agree? Yes. Now if I am taking this particular one, you have to write CH2OH over here. Then propyl alcohol, propyl alcohol. So prop, ane, and ol. And what is the key point to remember? E should not come in this particular one. I hope everyone remembers this. This is very, very, very important point. Now some of the questions, let us answer some questions over here. Very easy questions. If you just see, we can easily answer. What is the next homologue of C3H7OH is called? Now, first we need to understand what is this called. 3 carbons, so prop, ane, ol, propanol. If it is propanol, the next homologue will have 1 carbon more. That means it becomes C4H9OH. Sir, how did we write? Just write the CnH10 plus 2. C4H10 is the next butane. This is coming from C3H8. Butane only, CnH2n plus 2. So the next homologous will be C4H10. Remove a hydrogen from it and replace it with OH. Add OH from that. Remove one hydrogen and add OH. So C4H10 becomes C4H9. Adding OH, OH. Now this is butanol, butanol. So the name is butanol. Coming to the molecular formula of alcohol, which can be derived from propane. Derived from propane, alcohol C3H8. What should we do? Remove one hydrogen, add one OH group. So what we'll write? C3, 8 becomes 7, OH. Got the answer? Yes. What is meant by term functional group? We already said an atom or a group of atoms which makes a carbon compound reactive and decides its properties is called functional group, which makes carbon atom reactive. I told you every carbon atom will be under the control of the functional group. So now whether you will work or not will be, it is example. Now if I take, you are sitting in a classroom and no one is there, no teacher is there, you are happy, no work, no homework, no classwork, nothing. But the minute the teacher enters, he gives you the work. In his presence, you will do silently the total homework, complete the classwork, homework, everything. Notes will be filled. Now, who made you to do those all works? The teacher. The teacher is the functional group now here. Correct? So, who regulates you, reacts you, makes you reactive and decides the properties? It is called functional group. Names of the functional groups. These have been asked in CBSE examinations, 10th examinations only. So, names of the functional groups. CHO, this is called as aldehyde. CO, this is called ketone, ketonic group. Aldehyde group, ketone group. So CO is ketone group, CHO is aldehyde group. We know already, we have learned in the functional group chart in lecture 1. These all are there. Again, we are revising it. Which are the following functional groups? Name the following. OH. What is it? Alcohol. Correct. COOH. What is it? Carboxylic acid. COOH is carboxylic acid. Functional groups always occur at the terminal position of a carbon chain. What are the functional groups which occur at terminal of the functional group? Let us forget what answer is given. Let us see here. COOH, CHO and CN. Whenever we see these are the functional groups which commonly come at the terminal of the carbon chain. So aldehyde functional group, carboxylic acid functional groups, they are the THE, the alkyl groups. R is an alkyl group. So alkyl attached to CHO, COOH, this is aldehyde and carboxylic acids. I hope clear. Can we move to the next? Yes? Okay. Now moving to the next one. Why a candle flame burns yellow while highly oxygenated gas fuel flame burns blue? This is the best example. You have to know when you have gone into the labs, you will be seeing the burners in your lab, Bunsen burners we call. You can see the Bunsen burners clearly. When you on that Bunsen burners, you will see the blue color light. At the tip of the blue color light, you will see the red color. So blue color flame will be there, slightly orange color flame will be there, at the top red color flame will be there. So the Bunsen burner has the special property, the blue color, red color, that temperatures are different. The temperatures are different at different color ranges in the flame, so that the heating process can be done in such a way. If we want a particular substance to undergo oxidation, we go for one type of color flame. We wanted a reduction to happen, we'll go for one type of color flame, such that that respective reaction can be done. So Bunsen burners have a very key role in the lab. Now the question says candle cannot be used in the laboratory because candle gives you only yellow color, but highly oxygenated gas fuel flames burns blue. Reason: the most important factor determining color to the flame is oxygen supply. Correct? Without the three essential factors, fuel, oxygen, and what is the third one? Heat. Because every substance is having an ignition temperature. So heat, fuel, and oxygen. These three are essential. They should be in contact for a substance to catch fire. The extent of fuel oxygen pre-mixing determines the rate of combustion and thus the temperature and reaction paths. So how much oxygen supply is there? That much combustion takes place, and that raises the temperature, and that will be your reaction procedures, thereby producing different colors. In case of candle, it is incomplete combustion. So the candle undergoes incomplete combustions. The best examples are how to understand it is incomplete combustion. You keep a paper at the top, not in the flame region, slightly top. You can see after some time the paper gets black color coating on it is called sooty flame. So the black color, like you can observe this on clearly with camphor. When you touch light a camphor, you can see the flames will come with black color sooty flame. Sooty also will come the black color. So these are incomplete combustions, we call. They are incomplete combustion substances. Now incomplete combustion makes the flame not to achieve high temperature, so the temperature is not high. So here this gives you an yellow flame. While highly oxygenated, where highly oxygenated, the name itself says you are providing more oxygen, the flame burns blue because your combustion is high, rate of combustion is high, the temperature is high. So the most easy and most understanding, this is the convincing way to explain. You can have a simple logic: provide more oxygen, get more temperature, get blue color in the flame. You have less oxygen, less temperature raise, and you will be observing a flame less intense, that is yellow color. That's it. This is the simple conditions. It's a spectrum. Exactly. Correct. Moving towards the spectrum. That's it. What is the reaction between methane and chlorine? Why is considered methane and chlorine reaction is considered as substitution reaction? What is substitution first? If you have an alkane, R is an alkyl group attached with H. If chlorine is given to it, if one hydrogen is replaced with chlorine, giving you RCl plus HCl. Can you see two atoms exchange their position? Chlorine has come from Cl2, H has come from R, and they have exchanged their position. This is called substitution. In a game, if a player has got uh, any injury, what will be the condition? He cannot continue the play. Will the play stop because of one player? No. He will be replaced by a substituent player and the play continues. Here also, if one atom is removed from the carbon chain, another atom or a group will come and replace it. this replacement of an atom or group in place of hydrogen is called substitution. So now the substitution is happening. Why is the question? Because it is taking place in presence of sunlight. In presence of sunlight, chloromethane and hydrogen chloride formation takes place. All with excess of chlorine, all the hydrogens can be replaced. It is not AH, all the hydrogens can be replaced, and finally you can get CCl4. So the replacement, the reason for this is simple. This is the answer. Due to the sunlight, presence of sunlight is responsible for the substitution reactions. Why does carbon form compounds mainly by covalent bonding? Reason is very simple, because carbon is tetravalent. You remember the slide where we have discussed if the valence is 1, 2, 3, they are ready to lose electrons. If the valence electrons are 5, 6, 7, they are ready to gain electrons, ready to lose electron and gain electrons. But if you have 4, they only go for sharing of electrons. Share the electrons. So sharing of electrons is the only possibility, because losing 4 electrons is difficult. If they cannot lose 4 nor they cannot gain 4, they have no tendency of ionic bond formation, and they are energetically less favorable for ionic bond formation. So there is only possibility which is there is sharing of electrons, hence they only go for covalent bonding. General formula of alkanes, CnH2n plus 2. I don't think there is any difficulty in this. Clear to everyone? The 10 questions we have done. Wow, we have reached to the end. The homework, very important. What is the IUPAC name of isopentane? We'll explain this, not here. I'll explain you. If you don't know this, join the online tutor class, their tutoring session. We'll be learning about these all. What is the root word, what is called as root word, what is the IUPAC name neopentane, and explain about homologous series. All are easy questions and everything is explained in detail. Go through the lecture again. If you found, go back, pause it, check it out what I have explained. You'll get every single answer over here. Hope everything is clear and understood. Let's rock. Thank you. Have a nice day.